Bit of a gamble, guys, on the weather. I don't even have a proper coat on. Put my hoodie on. I've got my denim jacket on. So let's just see who's out. So Rio's just gone out. Rio's 19. No, Rio's 17. He's gone to college. Aurora, my wife, is at work, school teaching. Talia, who is 19, is at work. Giovanni is at school, who is 15. Yasmin and Tino are at school. So I haven't been shopping yet. So the van is home, of course. It is very windy. I'm just gonna muddle through, guys. See. Now I was gonna go on to my Elvis movies video. The point of the Elvis movie video is to discuss why Elvis said in an interview that the movie contracts and the type of movies that he felt he had no choice to do because of the contracts literally made him feel physically sick. So that is my next video, but the problem is if I do that video, Ella doesn't get a walk. So we want Ella to get a walk. Ella, you want to walk? Yes, you do. You want to walk? Say hello to the world. Shh. And so I just thought, it's tight. If I sit down on the laptop and do a 45-minute hi Mitchell, all is good, everything's great. If I sit down, Mitchell, our last video was about the Smiths, so you might enjoy it. It was concerning Danny Smith saying that Donna Presley is a genuine Presley. So you might find that interesting, especially based on the last 2 or 3 days that we've had, where you've got these fake Elvis fans saying that Donna is not a Presley and that Riley doesn't count as family. We've had a very dramatic 4 days, Mitchell. Guys, if you don't know Mitchell, I think he has distant relation to the Smiths. Mitchell can explain it to you. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. So my next video was going to be... hi Jane. My next video was going to be about the movies. It still is. The next video I make today is going to discuss why making these movies made Elvis feel physically sick. Now don't forget, my views on the Elvis movies are not typical, because I'm the first to say that I love Elvis movies, all of them. Even the songs that some people call cheesy, I love it. I love Elvis's songs. Yeah, Ella's lovely. Do you want me to show you Ella? Ella Bella. Come on, say hello. Say hello, Sugar. She wants to be walked. She's been staring at me to get walked. Elvis is third cousin to Elvis from the Smith side. There we are. Mitchell is Elvis's third cousin to Elvis from the Smith side. Okay, and welcome. Remember, I'm okay with the Smiths. Yes, I will discuss the mistakes of the past, but I'm okay with them as human beings, as Elvis's blood. I fully respect the Smiths are Elvis's blood. That means a lot to me, okay? But yes, they made mistakes. You know, I'm not cancelling out the mistakes. I still stand by Lisa Marie and the fact that she's upset about the mistakes and that she cut them off and said a few things. You know, I'm with Lisa 100%. My point is, it's 2026. Billy and Joe are they're elderly. I say that with respect. They still look great, they're still going strong. But we have to come on, at some point, we have to acknowledge that these people are family that made mistakes. That have also for decades, said very positive things about Elvis as well. It hasn't all been bad, guys. The Smiths have told thousands of stories, positive stories. that we would never know if it, you know, if they hadn't have told the stories. So, well, Mitchell, I actually think he said a bit too much, to be honest with you, Mitchell. That's my answer to that. But, you know, the book Elvis, Aaron Presley and the Memphis Mafia, mate, yeah, let's not talk about that book. So, anyway, we've got to show some bloody respect for these people. It's flipping Elvis's bloodline. Now, just quickly on mentioning on the movie video. So Tammy sent me, oh my God, it is raining a tiny bit. It's spitting, guys. Tammy sent me a video of all of Elvis's interviews, all pieced together, right from the 50s, right to the day he died, okay? I listened to it, I've heard it all loads of times. I've listened to that loads of times. Many of you have listened to it loads of times. Elvis, it's actually called Elvis in His Own Words, yeah? We've all heard it, yeah? So I was listening to it, oh my God, the weather. So I was listening to it this morning. Oh, it's getting windy, guys. Oh my God, it's bloody... I hope this hat don't fly off. I'm gonna make about 5 videos from that video. Lots of little clips. I have to remove the music because there's a lot of music in it. Very old music, rhythm and blues and all that, yeah? Oh my God, you know, gospel, all the rest of it, yeah? So for today, I decided I want to centre on why Elvis said that the Elvis movies made him feel physically sick. Whoa. Right, let's cross the road, guys. Oh my God, it's freezing. Woo, the wind's blowing in my eyes. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. As I was just saying, I love the movies. I love the cheesy songs. I love the cheesy movies. Yeah, you know, we're Elvis fans. We love anything Elvis, don't we? There's actually a lot of the songs in the movies I really like. Yeah. So Elvis, a very proud man in the 1970s, being interviewed. A bit embarrassed of some of the movies. A bit embarrassed of some of the songs, yeah? You know, talking as a proud man in the 70s. I actually think... Oh my God. Hang on. Right, you coming or what? Come on, it's too windy. I actually think that Elvis now in 2026 would probably look back on some of those movies. I repeat, would probably look back in some of those movies and say, actually, they weren't that bad. I actually think he would probably look back on many of the songs, the movie songs, and say, well, actually, they're actually okay. Do we agree that some of the movie songs were actually all right, weren't they? Yeah, do we agree with that? Right, let me sort Ella out. You can look at the sky. Right, hang on. Oh, my God. Oh my God. Absolutely freezing. Woo. Right, hang on. Let's put my gloves back on. Oh, it's so cold. Right, as I was saying, I hope you can hear me over the wind. It's very windy. You probably can hear the wind noise, can't you? As I was saying, how many of us agree that a lot of the songs in the movies, even the cheesy sort of beach movies, the girl movies, yeah, were actually really good? I can think of quite a few songs. You know, the girl happy type movies, you know? So I actually think if Elvis was alive now and he could look back on the songs, quite a lot of them were actually very good. And I don't think he'd be so embarrassed of them. And same for the films. Yeah, it's definitely windy, Niam. We're in the southwest UK. Yeah, there we are. Mitchell says, yeah, they were fun. And they bring back, let's face it. Oh, the wind, the wind. Let's face it, guys. They bring back childhood memories. How many of you have got childhood memories of watching Elvis movies? Seriously, how many of you were in the 70s was sat at home with mum and dad, watching movies, and your cousins and brothers and sisters? Yeah, I know. Yeah, but at least I got hair. I posted a picture of my dad on Facebook. My dad had no hair. I'm hair lucky. Yeah, of course we do, Mitchell. We all do. You know, there's a few free movies on YouTube, like Flaming Star is on there. There's a few free movies in there on YouTube. Guys, let me know the free movies on YouTube. There's about 4, I think. There might be 5. Woohoo! Okay. And actually, if you go through, Wild in the Country, that's free on YouTube, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think King Creole is free. Jenna, I love King Creole, but I don't think it's free. I've never seen that free on YouTube. Unless it is in America. In England, I don't think it's free. I think when I get round this corner, send me it. Jenna, send me the link. I look for that. It's my favourite film. King Creole is my favourite film. Jenna, where are you in the world? Remind me. It's America. I thought so. Still send me the link anyway. Yeah, Loving You's free. I watch it all the time. I love it. One of my favourite. I love Jailhouse Rock and King Creole are my 2 favourite. I quite like GI Blues. I mean, GI Blues, you know, 'cause part of the reason I like Lexington, Kentucky. So did you invent Kentucky Fried Chicken? Oh my God! Let's get round this corner. The wind might drop off a bit. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, Jailhouse Rock is one of my favourite, guys. I absolutely love Jailhouse Rock. So I used to play all the trailers. Yeah? But because of the music, we keep getting copyrighted, so I can't even play the bloody trailers. Someone needs to make a YouTube video of all the trailers and cut out the music. Then we can play it. It's still, there's a lot of great trailers. Even if you remove the music, they're still good. Whoa! Right, here we are. I'm hoping now we get round this corner, I'm hoping it's going to be less windy. Anyway, so the plan is, guys, I love Kentucky Rain. Probably one of, if not my most favourite songs. 11 herbs and spices in KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. In my hometown, we have 2 KFCs. One of them is a spin-off, so it's called Miss Millie's. So there was 2 KFCs, and one of them got bought out by Miss Millie's. Do you have a Miss Millie's in America? I know a lot. 42% of you are American. 20% of you are British. 6% of you are Australian. And the rest of you are around the world. So I did quite a deep dive concerning why Elvis said that he felt physically sick because of the movies. So we've done quite a deep dive. I've posted it. I asked AI as well. Got AI's information. So I got two lots of things to read out to you. And we're going to try and understand why. Because a big question I've been asking is this. So we've got Elvis in the 50s, okay? Biggest star in the world. Overnight stardom, you know, it wasn't overnight, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I've heard of the Kentucky Derby. Anyway, so we know Elvis gets drafted. You know, Elvis had to sign for the draft by the time he was 18, didn't he? Yeah. So think about it, guys. Elvis has this phenomenal fame. He's made a couple of films. He's #1 around the world, loads of #1s. Been on TV, the whole world knows Elvis. He gets drafted into the army. Unfortunately, during basic training, he loses his adorable, lovely mother. Then he goes off to Germany, Bad Nauheim, close to Wiesberg, where Priscilla lived. Anyway, so he does his time at the army. The Cold War was a scary time. You were always wondering if we would get World War III. Now, whilst Elvis is in the army, from what I can tell, there is a big plan. The big plan is the next phase of Elvis's life, concerning his career. Yeah. So it was. Elvis clearly said he wanted to get into movies. He wanted some decent roles. Yeah. Yeah, we know about the Frank Sinatra show that he came back and did GI Blues. I think the Frank Sinatra show is amazing. I think Elvis stole the show myself. As soon as Elvis started moving his hips and legs, got everyone screaming, he overshadowed Frank Sinatra. Even though Frank Sinatra was probably one of the most famous people in the world. Elvis comes along. You know, I'd heard a few things about Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra had said rock and roll was a problem and causing problems with the juvenile delinquents, didn't he? Yeah? He did I know Elvis did a Coming Home album, didn't he? In 1960. But this is my point, guys. So they're planning the future of Elvis. They're planning. I've heard all the mafia stuff as well, Mitchell, but that's for a different topic. They're planning Elvis's future. Elvis clearly wants to be an actor. He still wants to sing. I think he also wanted a tour as well, but he wanted to tour Europe and England. Very clear, yeah? Yep, I know all about the Frank Sinatra show. We've actually done a few videos about it, yeah? Right. Nancy Sinatra meets him, gives him a silk shirt from her dad. Elvis and Nancy became very good friends. Obviously, they made a movie together, didn't they? Nancy Sinatra, even now, still speaks beautifully about Elvis. Says that all they ever did was kiss on the movies, nothing else. She follows us on X. So we have Defending Elvis on X, Twitter, and Nancy follows us. Did you know that, Jen? Nancy Sinatra follows us. Anyway, she follows Defending Elvis, so I'm proud. So, Colonel Tom Parker and Elvis are planning, Who is that? Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. Yeah, go follow us on Twitter, on X, okay? So Nancy Sinatra. Hang on, let me get it right a minute. Colonel Tom Parker and the gang, whoever they are, and Elvis are planning the next stage of Elvis's career, okay? Remember, I'm just having a chat as a fan. I'm no expert, I'm not a researcher. Please remember that, we're just having a chat. Don't take it too seriously. I can get my facts wrong, don't worry about it. Just correct me in the comments. So they're planning the next phase of Elvis's career. Elvis clearly wants to go into the movies. I am a big Frank Sinatra fan. I'm a big Rat Pack fan as well. Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., all that, love it, yeah? My dad was really into all that. Right, so the next part, guys. These contracts are being signed. Now, I read something. Now, you tell me in the comments that 4 movies... Yeah, but I'm allowed to make mistakes because I'm not a researcher. I'm just a fan having a chat. It's all good. I got a feeling it was 4 movies that were signed for. 4 movies at first, yeah? I could be wrong. Please put me right in the comments, okay? So Elvis knew that the next sort of 4 years of his life, I'd like to look into the contracts and just see how many contracts Colonel Tom Parker had signed Elvis into, yeah? Now, Elvis was an honourable man, okay? He was gonna honour whatever he'd agreed to with the Colonel. Now, don't forget, Elvis would have agreed to it. I'm not gonna say that Elvis didn't give the green light. I believe Elvis did give the green light, because I don't think Elvis could be forced to do anything. I believe that him and the Colonel signed these contracts. It was a very, very generous contract to Elvis. Elvis even got a percentage of the kickback on the royalties. It was $1 million a movie plus royalties, yeah? It was an amazing deal. So Elvis I would say Elvis was probably really happy with the deal that Colonel Tom Parker had done. Don't forget, everyone knows that Colonel Tom Parker could strike up the best deal. He was a real money maker. He really did negotiate everything in the best possible way financially, including the record deals. When Elvis would sing other people's songs, Elvis would be on the credits and get royalties. So no matter what anyone says about Colonel Tom Parker, he knew how to strike up a really good deal for Elvis. So there we go, we're off into the 60s. So GI Blues makes sense, doesn't it? GI Blues, Elvis is coming out of the army. He looks amazing in uniform. GI Blues is one of the most successful films of all time. Oh, well, I think the relationship between the Colonel and Elvis was very on-off. Don't forget, yesterday we covered Colonel Tom Parker and the King. We did a discussion on it, didn't we, with Peter Goralnik's book. My view of the Colonel is mixed, good and bad. I have good and bad views. I think timing, I think Colonel could open the doors. But I've always said this, Elvis was going to be the most famous man on the planet. It was inevitable. It didn't have to be the Colonel. I think maybe the Colonel speeded things up. I believe that. I do agree that Elvis wasn't forced to do anything, but I will say this. Once he signed those contracts, because I would have thought that Elvis signed those contracts with the Colonel, of course, expecting that the movies were going to be, how can I say it? Trying to find the right words. I don't think Elvis realized just how cheesy the movies would become. I think there was a formula that just seemed to work financially, and the formula was girls, girls, girls. And I just think at first it was a bit of fun. I really believe when the first cheesy movies started coming out, it was a bit of fun. I think the Memphis Mafia and Elvis were having some fun. But once Elvis realized, sorry guys, choking to death. I believe once Elvis realized, my throat's gone. Once Elvis realized that that was going to be the direction of the movies, and that he was still signed in these contracts all the way to 1969, don't forget, so the whole of the 60s. I do think Elvis tried to change things. It fell on deaf ears, yeah? And I just think Elvis ended up fulfilling the scripts, the songs. So in a weird way, he did do what he didn't want to do. I think he didn't realize, I think when Elvis signed the contracts, that he was well-intentioned. He thought, yep, I'm going to have a very serious, dramatic roles, like films like Marlon Brando, James Dean, you know, Rebel Without a Cause type films. But it's obvious that it didn't go that way. They followed a different direction. They followed the money. So the money-making movies were the cheesy movies. When Elvis did movies that weren't cheesy, you know, that were a bit more serious, is Flaming Star one of them? They didn't make the money. They didn't make the money. So Elvis, in a weird way, was doing what he did not want to do because he was honoring the contracts. This is my point. So you guys have said Elvis would never do what he didn't want to do. It sort of happened round the back door, didn't it? He signed these contracts with good intentions. This is after King Creole, Jenna, yeah? Up to King Creole, everything was great. The first 3 movies Elvis did, I think, were really good. After GI Blues, it takes a different turn. Yeah? And that includes the songs. Don't forget, the albums that accompanied these movies were massive, massive successes. Yeah? Massive successes. Yeah? So Elvis was in a rut. He was stuck in the 60s doing these movies, honoring these contracts that he was signed into. He had no choice. And that's history, guys. We're not going to change it. And in this interview I'm discussing, that I'm going to play later, he makes it very clear. He was physically sick because of these movies. You could eat. One of the things he says is that you could pay him no amount of money in the world would he agree to do these kind of movies. No amount of money, but he was signed in, guys. He had no choice. Yeah. So it's a very interesting interview. We've all heard the interview, haven't we, guys? Where he says it made him physically sick, and he was a very unhappy time of his life. He did try to make them change the scripts, change the storylines. He did try to tell them, give me some decent roles. They just didn't listen. Eventually, the money to Elvis eventually meant nothing, didn't it? He just wanted out, yeah? He couldn't get out. He'd signed the contracts. So this master plan to make movies through the 60s and to become a serious, credible actor, didn't work out. Their plan that was drawn up whilst Elvis was in Bad Newheim in the army, their master plan didn't work out. Now, financially, of course, Elvis was fine, yeah? But personally, in his heart, his creative ability was stunted. And I think by the time you get to the mid-60s, Elvis's career nosedives. I remember the saying by John Lennon. Where he says Elvis died in the army. And I know what he means. It wasn't those exact words, but you know, you get the point what John Lennon was saying. And whilst Elvis is making these movies, you have a whole new pop culture, a whole new pop phenomenon, don't we? You know, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. Yeah, he definitely needed excitement, Mitchell. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all of that amazing 60s, because I love music from the 60s. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I'm a big Beatles fan. I like all of the well-known 60s bands, okay? And it passed Elvis by. Because Elvis was trying to make the movies, fulfill the contracts, yeah? So then, you know, we all, the big saver, the thing that saved the day was the 68 comeback special. It reignited Elvis. Don't forget, Elvis met the Beatles, and it is said that Elvis meeting the Beatles lit a flame in him as well. People think that Elvis didn't like the Beatles. Hi, Frederick. But he actually did like them. And he respected them. Okay, he may not have agreed with the drug stuff, you know, pot smoking, all that crap. Well, actually, if you listen to Linda Thompson, she said that Elvis smoked pot, which I think is bullshit. Linda Thompson, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that comment you put yesterday at Westgate at the International, that Elvis was smoking pot to soothe his eye pain, his glaucoma. I just don't believe it. I can't imagine Elvis smoking pot. I can't imagine it. Anyway, I'm going off tangent. Linda, I do like you, but you know, control what you say, mate. Anyway, back to what I was trying to say. So certain things were happening to reignite Elvis's passion, okay? Don't forget, if you want to talk about Priscilla, in 68, don't forget, she was unfaithful. She's admitted it with the dance instructor till Lisa Marie was a baby. So you have that going on. Now I'm really confused. I don't actually know if when Elvis found out about the dance instructor Steve Peck. It's confusing. Some people say that the Memphis Mafia told him. So I don't know. Does anyone know when Elvis found out about the dance instructor that Priscilla calls Mark in her book Elvis and Me, in her 1985 memoir, whatever you want to call it? In 68, Priscilla's unfaithful. Hi Barb, you living in Memphis, yeah? We've got a few Team Elvis people in Memphis. Say hello to Sean at Sundowners. There's quite a few of you in Memphis now. So it is raining now, guys. I'm going to go into the house a minute. So the thing I'm trying to say, guys. Right, let's get out of the rain. It's raining. We're home, guys. We've done a full circle. Ella is wet. Look at poor Ella. Ella, are you wet? Oh, don't worry. We're home now. 6, 7. Anyway, hi Rick. So, we're not up to 67 minutes yet, though. Let's have a look. So I'm not sorry if I'm missing some of your comments, guys. I'm going to go in the house where there's no rain. So, Priscilla, don't forget, in 68. Right, in you go. Go on. Right, we're in the house. Okay. Sometimes the signal can go funny. So in 68, guys, in 68, I hope you're still getting me. I know the signal's a bit funny. In 68, guys, it was a transformative year, okay? Because we got the unfaithfulness. So that really the marriage between Elvis and Priscilla, I think, becomes fake. Yeah, honestly, I think that once there's been unfaithfulness with Priscilla, I know that, you know, we also know that before they got engaged in 60, was it, so May the 6th, so they get engaged, December 66, okay? Elvis was unfaithful. Then, I think they were both being unfaithful. I've always believed, as you've heard me say many times, I've always believed that Elvis was faithful after the engagement. So after they got engaged in December 66, I believe Elvis was faithful. Some of you disagree with me. I also believe after the marriage, when Priscilla got pregnant, don't forget they got married 3 weeks before Priscilla turned 22. I believe Elvis was faithful. And I think once Elvis found out Priscilla was pregnant, I think he was faithful. I really believe it. Some of you are going to disagree with me. It's just how I feel about Elvis. Elvis being a Christian man, I just think once he got engaged, once he got married and she was pregnant, I just think he would have tried to behave. Yeah. I've even heard Joe Esposito say once Elvis got married and Priscilla was pregnant, Elvis was faithful. This is Joe Esposito. Yeah. But obviously, once Priscilla was unfaithful with Mark Peck, the dance instructor, which she's admitted, and it all comes out, everyone finds out. I don't know when Elvis found out. Then Elvis was unfaithful. We know that. We know about Susan Jennings and other people. They were both unfaithful. That is my point. They were both unfaithful. This is the bit, I believe. So 68 was a very transformative year, okay? So I'm trying to read your comments, guys. So the 68, I believe that the 68 comeback special changed everything. Yeah. Don't forget, he still had to honor the contract. So we know he made a movie in 69. Okay. So what can I say? In 69, we have this massive success of the 68 comeback. The relationship with Priscilla and Elvis is over. She's still knocking off the dance instructor. He bottles out. She says that she ended the relationship. They had a brief affair and ended it, she says on page 262 of her book. And then we have another comeback, which is the 69 Vegas comeback. The 69 Vegas comeback, yeah? Elvis is more amazing than ever. I would say in some ways even more amazing than, not more, but as amazing as the 68 comeback special. So Elvis then, his time at Vegas, especially the first 3-4 years, were amazing, okay? So this is what I'm trying to say, guys, is to me the 60s, as a selfish fan who loves Elvis, the 60s for me were good because I get to see Elvis in all these movies, singing these songs. Many of these songs I liked. Looking handsome and slim and healthy and having fun. So I love the 60s movies. But for Elvis, I think it was a very difficult time. I think the 60s for Elvis, up to the 68 comeback special, I'm more talking about the mid-60s. So I would say from the because I actually think the first 2 or 3 years of the movies in the 60s, Elvis quite enjoyed. The Memphis Mafia really enjoyed it as well. So I think 61, 2, 3, those sort of years, I think Elvis is having the time of his life. But as we get more into the 60s, Elvis becomes despondent, unhappy, sometimes miserable, because of these contracts that he'd signed into for the movies. I think Elvis went through quite a sad time in the mid-60s. you know, just based on the research I've done and what I've read from you guys. And but then he comes out of it. Then he comes out of it, doesn't he? With the 68 comeback special. Yeah. So we are. So anyway, I'm going to go now, guys. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go get the kids from. I'm going to go shopping and get the kids from school. I'm going to buy the food for tonight, and then maybe later, if I get the time, I'm going to do this movie live stream. I want to do a live stream about Elvis' interview where he says that he felt physically sick by the movies, and I want to discuss that comment, look as best as possible. Okay, guys. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the dog walk, and we will be back.